श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदाहृति श्रीवासरंगपरकाल मुनित्रयाप्त लक्ष्मात्मरक्षणेत्युगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूतमनर्गशीलं गोपालदेशिकमुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः पराशर मुनिं वन्दे कृतपौर्वाणिकक्रियं मैत्रेय परिपप्रच्य पणिबध्याभिवाद्य च. So we have been enjoying Sage Parasara's narration to Sage Maitreya, and last week and the previous week we talked about King Katwangatan of Ikshvaku Kulam, Ikshvaku dynasty. So how King Katwangatan helped Devendra and how Devendra made him realize, as requested by Devendra. Katwangan asked, how much time I am going to live? Please tell me. He said, you would live only for one muhurtam. And he immediately rushed to the earth and he got his jnanam and vairagyam and satyam, and he could immediately perform sharanagati through the advice given by sage Vasishta and attained moksha. Such was the greatest virtue of King Katwangatan. Katwangena samonanyaha kaschit turvyam bhavishyati yena swargatiha gamya muhurtam prapya jeevitam trayodi samhita lokaha buddhya satyena chaivahi. So he crossed the three worlds and went into moksham, Sri Vaikuntham. So that was because of his immediate vairagyam, jnanam, and knowing about the tattvam, that he is eternally subservient to the Lord. So this Katwangu had a son called Dirghabahu, and for Dirghabahu there was a son by name Raghu, and Raghu had a son by name Ajan. Ajan's son was King Dasharatha. King Dasharatha, we all know, had 4 children. So, Sage Parasara gives a brief description about Srimad Ramayanam in just 17 slokams. So, King Dasharatha was blessed with Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna because of the blessing in Putra Kameshti Yagam by Srimad Narayana. There was a payasam handed over to him by the fire god, and he obviously wanted the spouses to drink, and he was blessed with the 4 kids. We all know the story. Lord Rama protected the yagam of sage Vishwamitra. He also prevented the Rakshasas from corrupting the sage yagam Velvi. With his arrow he chased the Rakshasa Marichan from the Yajnasala. He killed Tataka, he killed Subahu, but he chased away Maricha, because Maricha has got a role to play again in Srimad Ramayanam. By his very appearance, he purified Ahalya from her curse. Lord Rama's lotus feet, the Tiruvadi, which destroyed the curse on Ahalya, but also she looked at the pleasing form of Lord and she got all her papams cleared. Then Lord Rama, along with Lakshmana and sage Vishwamitra, went to the king of Janaka, and where with effortlessly he broke the Shiva Dhanush, the bow of Shiva, which was maintained by King Janaka. Sage Parasara Bhattar mentions effortlessly that how Lord Rama broke the bow by saying that he broke the bow effortlessly as if he was ripping a jasmine creeper, Malligai Kodi. He simply plucked the Malligai Kodi as if he was breaking the Malligai Kodi, the creeper of jasmine. He broke the bow. Pleased with the power, the prowess, the valor, the strength of Lord Sri Ramachandra Murti, King Janaka gave the hand of his daughter Sita, Yam Sita Mama Suta. who had incarnated by not taking a birth from mother's womb. She was a Ayonija. She just appeared in Janaka's garden. So she was wedded to Lord Rama on his way back to Ayodhya with his bride Ramachandramurti, humbled sage Parasurama, and who was the destroyer of many Kshatriyas, and King Kartavirya Arjuna. So, sage Parasara briefly talks about Ramayana in order to obey the instruction, the command, the Pitruvakyam from his father. Lord Rama left for the forest with Sita Pirati and Lakshmana. He completely sacrificed, forsook the kingdom to submit his father's Vakyam. In the forest, he killed many demons, Viratan, Kabandhan, and the king, Vanara king, Vali. Sage Parasara here does not mention about the abduction of Sita Pirati by Ravana, or he is not talking about the Sundarakandam episode. He just talks about Rama's valor. Lord Rama built a bridge, Setu Bandhanam, bridge across the ocean. He killed Ravana. He rescued Sita. In order to reveal the supreme character of our goddess, the Jaganmata, Sita Pirati, he asked Sita to enter into the fire, and thus made everyone, including the Devas, including Dasharatha, including the Pitrus, to sing in praise of Sita for her chastity. He then returned to Ayodhya. Now, O Maitreya sage Parasara mentions, I feel very happy to narrate the Ramayana as you are listening to it very attentively. But Ramayana can be described for hundreds of years. This few minutes is not adequate. And he also describes the Pattabhishekam, the coronation ceremony of Lord Ramachandramurti, which cannot be described to the fullest extent, even if you have 100 years to narrate every detail. The Lord was surrounded by Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, Shugrivan, Angadan, Hanuman, Vibhishana, and they intently served the Perumal by holding the umbrella over his head, by fanning him. The ceremony was attended by all the Devas, including Chaturmukha Brahma, including Shiva. Lord Rama was praised by great rishis like Vasishta, Valmiki, Vamadeva, etc. The complete ambience, the air was filled with music, dancing, melodious rhythm. All the kings attended the ceremony. Lord Rama ruled the earth for 11,000 years, and then once his avatara mission was over, he went back to his Vishnu lokam, his lokam, taking all the entire people, the beings, the stavaram, the grass of Ayodhya to his kingdom because of their love, because of their preeti. Now, I would like to touch upon the philosophical aspect, the ragasyams, the facts behind Ramayana, as beautifully narrated to Bhagavat Ramanuja by his maternal uncle. See, this Ramayana is a great epic. We can learn a lot from them. However, it also contains the 6 Veda Angams, which are Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, Jyotisha, the 6 Veda Angams. Shiksha is the pronunciation and Vyakarana is the grammar. So, when Hanuman was talking to Rama and Lakshmana first time, Rama was overwhelmed and he was so impressed by the way Hanuman was narrating, Hanuman was describing who he is, whom he is representing, whose messenger he is, and he inquired as to what for Rama Lakshmana came to the forest. The way he placed his statements was full of beauty. And there he talks about the way the phonetics, the pronunciation, the grammar, everything was talked about, the Siksha and the Vyakarana. And then, of course, Adya Ramasya Ramatvam Lakshmano Lakshmi Sampannaha Shatrugno Nitya Shatrugnaha. Lakshmana is blessed with Lakshmi because the Kaikarya Lakshmi. Like that, the words is so beautifully, the etymology, Niruktam, is being talked about in Ramayana. And the kalpa, the ritual, is also talked about where Dasharatha performs Putra Kameshti Yagam, Raman performs Ashwamedha Yagam, and all these Muhurtam, which was chosen for Rama Pattabhishekam, for Sita's Vivaham, for starting into the forest to perform Dhanam. All this Jyotisham was also referred to by Srimad Ramayanam. So all the Veda Angams are talked about. And there was a person by name Japali. Japali talked all, just like our DK, he talked about the atheistic views. And he also talked about the Charvaka, Bauddha, Jaina Matams. And Rama advised him, and those statements talk about the glorious Sanatana Dharma. And 3, it talks about the Varnashrama Dharma, the Varna Dharma. How when you are a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or Shudra, how one should conduct the way, the life, is talked about in Valmiki Ramayana. And Ashrama Dharma, whether you are a Brahmachari or a Grahastha or a Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, there the way, the behavior is described in Srimad Ramayana. Pitru Dharma, Matru Dharma, Bratru Dharma, how the brotherly relationship, how the brotherly behavior needs to be understood is also mentioned. Patni Dharma, Raja Dharma, Praja Dharma, Mitra Dharma, the friendship, everything is so beautifully depicted and described in Srimad Ramayana. And even in the times of danger, one should not leave their dharma. One should not leave their karma, is talked about here. And not only the generic things are talked about, there is also Vedantam, which is described through Srimad Ramayana in a subtle manner. We know the story that Sita was abducted by Ravana, and Rama, through the help of Hanuman, he found out that Sita was captured in Ashokavanam, and then Rama crossed the forest, crossed the ocean, went and killed Ravana, brought Sita back. We know that story. However, the Vedantic significance behind it is in the samsaric ocean, our samsaram, not the spouse, the samsaric, the ocean of birth and death, the karmic diseases, the samsaric afflictions. This itself is the ocean, and in that samsaric ocean, our body is Lanka. And Ravanan and Kumbhakarnan are Ahankara Mamakaras. Ahankara means I. Mamakara is mine. I and mine. That is Kumbhakarna and Ravana. And Indrajit, all those assistants, they are all Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Badam, Matsaryam. So these qualities, which are the evil qualities. And Vibhishana is Vivekam, the discriminatory power, the intellect, that which is blessed to the Jivatma. Sita, the one who is imprisoned, is the Jivatma, is us, the Jivatma. And the one who crosses the ocean and goes to Sita and passes on the message from God, Sri Ramachandra Murti, is Hanuman. He is the Acharya, he is the Guru. Because Guru is the one who connects the Jivatma and the Paramatma, the Sita and Rama. And the Emperuman is now informed by the Acharyan, there is a Jivatma longing to serve you, longing to be united with you. And hence he goes there, he clears all the enemies of the Jivatma and gets back the Jivatma into his fold and places the Jivatma on his lap next to him in the Simhasana. That is what we would attain when we go to Moksham. So this is the Vedanta Artham. Of course, there is also another school of thought that Ravana is the mind. The 10 talai, the 10 talai, the 10 heads of Ravana are our 10 indriyams. The eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the skin, the pancha indriyam and the pancha karmendriyam, the hand, the legs and the mouth, all that. So the karma, the indriyams that do the karma and the indriyam that enjoy the matter. So karmendriyam and jnanendriyam. So these 10 are the 10 heads. The vivekam is the Rama Bhanam, the bow. And from the bow, from the arrow of the Rama, the mind is transformed, the mind is changed, and the mind gets completely changed, cured. And this is the comment, another school of thought in the Vedanta. Of course, Kumbhakarnan is the Tamo Guna, Ravana is the Rajo Guna, and Vibhishana is the Sattva Guna. We can also mention. And another fifth point is that there is an Artha Panchakam, which is the 5 attributes in our life. One is the Jivatma, other is the Paramatma, third the way, the road to attain the Paramatma. The Jivan has to travel that road to attain the Paramatma, the way, which is like Bhakti or the Sharanagati, like the Karmanyana Bhakti Yogam or the Sharanagati. So that is the way, and the goal is the Lord's lotus feet. And of course, what are the challenges, the hurdles is the fifth. So there are 5. One is the Jivatma, other is the Paramatma, third is the way, fourth is the goal, fifth are the challenges. This is called Artha Panchakam. And all these 5 are there in Srimad Ramayana. The goal is Rama. The Jivatma is Sita. And the way is to think of him, contemplate him, always be steadfast, be convinced that he will come and save me. So there is no way that it is going to be, there is no way that I am going to suffer here. He will definitely come and save me. So that's the way we should think. And all these are described in Artha Panchakam, is described in Srimad Ramayana. And Vedantam, which says the Paratattvam is Rama. He is the ultimate, superior, supreme Lord, and which is described not by us, not by Valmiki, also during Srimad Ramayana. Parashurama talks about, Vishwamitra mentions to Dasharatha, Aham Vedmi Mahatmanam Ramam Satya Parakramam. I know about Rama, you don't think that he is a 12-year-old boy. He and Parashurama talks about, the Rishis mention, Shabari mention, Tarai, Valmiki, the Vali's wife tells, Malyavan, the enemy says, Mandodari, Ravana's wife, describes. Ravana himself says he must be Lord Srimad Narayana himself just before he dies. And this Srimad Narayana, Sri Ramachandra Murti, is the only one who is the entity, who is the Tattvam, who is the way, his lotus feet, and who is the goal, his lotus feet. And unless we do something, we seek his grace, he would not come and save us. Similarly, Sita mentions to Hanuman that I have been waiting to be saved by him. Go and tell him. So there is a performance of Sharanagati. The entire Srimad Ramayana talks about Sharanagati. The first Sharanagati by Devas to Srimad Narayana in the Milky Ocean in Parkadal. They go and tell about the horrible deeds of Ravana. Please save me. So hence Narayanan decides to take birth as Rama, as the son of Dasharatha. The first Sharanagati. Then in Vishwamitra, Trishanku, Shunachepar, they perform Sharanagati to Vishwamitra, Trishanku. And Lakshmana performed Sharanagati to Rama, taking the recommendation from Sita that I want to serve you eternally. and gunair dasyam upagataha. I am completely enslaved by your gunas, by your beauty, by your kalyana gunams, by your auspicious attributes. I want to keep serving you forever as your dasan, as your servant. And of course, there is Kakasuran, there is Bharatan, there is Dandakaranya Maharishigal, there is Sugrivan. Sugrivan also performed Sharanagati, saying, please save me from Vali. Samudra Rajan, Trijadai, Vibhishanan, their Sharanagati is talked about. And of course, Vibhishana Sharanagati is glorified by all our acharyas, because he has left everything and come empty handed except the folded hands, along with his four commandos. So Lakshmanan, Bharatan, Vibhishana, everybody wanted only Bhagavat Kainkaryam. Even Sugriva got back his kingdom after Vali was killed. Sugriva came with Rama. He never said, I will send you the army, you go and win. He could have simply lived in the palace. He didn't. He took the risk. He came, crossed the ocean, stayed along with Rama, and the moment he saw Ravana on the other side, he jumped to Ravana's palace, endangering himself. And Rama was shocked. Why did you jump? If I had lost you, then what's the point in winning? You are my best friend. So such was the preeti and the prema, the bhakti of Sugriva for Rama. And Parama Purushartham is the going to the Rama's lokam, Vishnu lokam. Ultimately, after Uttarakandam, when Rama went back, he took the entire clan, entire Ayodhya residents, including the animals, including the plants, including the grass, back to his den because of their preeti. And of course, we need to learn a lot about Rama, from Rama, from Lakshmana, from Bharata, from Shatrughna. From Rama, how to listen to the parents, how to take care of one's spouse, how to be friendly with whether they are the hunter or the boatman or the monkey or the bird, Jatayu, how friendly, close, and how much preeti he had, Vatsalyam on them. So even if we get to slightly one elevation in our office, we look down upon everyone as if we have achieved everything in life. Here, look at Srimad Narayana, who is the very Lord himself, and how much he was so easily accessible by everyone and anyone. And look at the way Bharata behaved. Bharata got his kingdom. He could have simply continued to be a king for 14 years. He didn't. He chose to be with Rama. So he came to the forest with the entire Ayodhya resident. When Rama declined his prayer, he handed back the Paduka to Bharata. And then Bharata simply accepted what Rama said. That was his being enslaved by Rama. Whatever Rama says, I would listen, even if it is not to my liking. So, if anything is given to us by the Lord because of his sankalpam, whether it's good or bad, whether it's not to our liking or to our liking, we should accept with as if it is his prasadam. So, he accepted in bowed head the Paduka and took the Padukas as the king. The Paduka did the Rajya. And Vibhishana also, he didn't want to go, he simply listened to Rama's instruction that he needs to go back to Lanka and rule. He didn't take Vibhishana to the Vishnu Lokam when he took everybody from Ayodhya. He didn't take Vibhishana. Even Hanuman, what bhakti he had, he didn't choose to go to Sri Vaikuntham or Vishnu Lokam. He chose to remain on this earth because the body was hugged by Rama. The body which was hugged by Rama, the shoulder that has been touched by Rama, the fragrance of Rama which is lingering in my body, I would never ever forsake that. I would like to have the same shariram which has been hugged by, embraced by Rama. So such was Maruti Anjaneya's bhakti. And Bhagavata Seshatvam. One can take how to be the servant of the Lord from Shatrughna. Shatrughna always was the servant of Bharata. So even Sri Rama Paduka, the Sugriva, Vibhishana, Kinkarar, the Sugriva's men, Vibhishana's men, all of them were like Shatrughna, one can say, because they all served the master who was serving the Lord. So they all were none other than like Shatrughna, similar to Rama Paduka. In fact, Swami Desika mentions in Paduka Sahasram, the 1008 verses on Rama Paduka, the Sri Ranganatha Paduka. He mentions that even Lakshmana was instructed by Rama to be in Ayodhya, take care of your mother, take care of your father, be here, I will come back in 14 years. Lakshmana rejected because he wanted to serve Rama. But if he really is so much enslaved by Rama, if he serves so much that Rama is my master, I would do anything which Rama says. If he thinks like that, he should have stayed put in Ayodhya as instructed by Rama. He didn't. He disobeyed and came with Rama. He performed Sharanagati, please take me. Otherwise I would not even live for a fraction of a second if you leave me. That's why he wanted to be with Rama, which is a great quality, but he didn't obey. Similarly, Bharata. When Bharata was asked by Rama to go back and be there as the king of Ayodhya for 14 years, I would come. He refused. Only after the Padukas were given to Bharata, he accepted. So, Bharata, Lakshmana, nobody obeyed Rama at some point or the other time, whereas Paduka simply accepted when the Rama handed over the Paduka to Bharata. Paduka never said, no, I cannot be separated from you, I have to be with you, with your feet, how can you desert me like that? And Paduka Devi never cried. It said, whatever Rama says, I would follow. That is the glory of Paduka, says Swami Desikan in Paduka Sahasram. So that's the Paratantriyam. That's Itta Vadak. Whatever Perumal says you should do, we should do. So it is not so important to do what you like to do as to begin to like what you have to do. That's the Sankalpam. So whatever that is thrust upon you, you need to follow. So, and whoever performs Sharanagati, one needs to have Akinchanyam, the helplessness, being utterly helpless. Ananya Gatitvam, there is no other refuge other than you. So when somebody performs Sharanagati to Rama, say Vibhishana. Vibhishana came, he was staying on the sky, waiting for Rama to accept his Sharanagati. He said, I've left everything. I've left my kingdom, I've left my spouse, I've left my children, I've left everything and come empty-handed to you. Not even a briefcase with a couple of sets of clothing. No. And I've come straight to you performing Sharanagati, along with the 4 Dasa Bhutas of me. So, he has come with having no other refuge other than Rama. He has come completely declaring his helplessness, that Ravana has chased me away. Nobody listens to my good advice. So I've come to you. And similarly, even Trijada, Vibhishana's daughter, she performed Sharanagati on behalf of the Rakshasis to Sita. And Pirati also mentions as Pirati is also talked about as the recommendation, the mediatrix for all of us in our Sharanagati. Even in Ramayana, Vibhishana was blessed by Pirati, Sita Pirati, because when Vibhishana's daughter goes and tells Sita that my father Vibhishana has been correcting Ravana every time, he has been instructing, he has been advising, and alas, he has also been chucked out of the palace by Ravana. Ravana said, you can leave. So when this was narrated to Sita, Sita simply blessed him That is why Valmiki says he is Sriman, Antarikshagata Sriman. He is a Sriman because he has already been blessed by Sita Pirati before Rama even accepted his Sharanagati. And Vibhishana asked Sugriva to recommend his case to Rama as the recommendation. So we need to have the Bhagavatas, the Acharyas recommending our Sharanagati to Perumal. Then only he would be more pleased. And after Sharanagati, one need not be worried, need not be burdened with further anxiety that whether he will save me, whether he will protect me, will he grant me moksham, no such doubts. So Sita is the standing example. Once she knows that Rama is there, he would come and save me. Hanuman has also come and assured me. The Acharya has assured me. So there is no need to worry anymore. Nirbharo nirbhayosmi. No bharam, no bhayam. And after this Sharanagati, we have to be in the association of Bhagavat Sannidhanam or Bhagavata Sannidhanam. The Maharishis were simply happy by staying at the shadow of Ramachandra Murti in the forest. They were so overwhelmed with Rama's Vatsalyam. When they showed the injuries, the hurt wounds caused by the Asuras and Rakshasas, when they showed to Rama, Rama simply said, "Do not worry, I am here now. I will take care. I will kill the Rakshasas and make sure that you are safe." Valmiki simply praises Rama's such assurance, assuaging assurance, comforting assurance. And of course, once he assures, we should completely be contented with the life. Whatever which is blessed to us, whatever plus and minus that we have in our life, that he is giving because it is his prasadam. Whatever that he gives, we accept like Sita Pirati. Whether Ravana comes and tortures, whether Rakshasi comes and tortures, she would just stay calm and just keep contemplating on Rama's Tirunamam, keep contemplating on his glories, on his beauty, and he would come and save. That's the Vedantic interpretations given by Ramanuja's Acharya. Adiye Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Sri Sita Lakshmana Hanumat Sameta Sri Ramachandra Parabrahmane Namaha.